Hello everybody and welcome back to qualifying night at F1 TS Hub for season 12. We are here for our second lobby of the evening after our 7 PM lobby kicked off the night. Qualifying night F1 TS Hub, this exclusive event, alongside me in the commentary box for his debut commentary for us at F1 TS Hub is Alex. So Alex, big welcome to you. If you could just introduce yourself and perhaps tell us about why you wanted to join commentary and the success you've had on the track at F1 TS Hub.
Awesome. Hi, my name's Alex. I go under the racing name for Eagle Rex here at F1 TS Hub. Last season I was a Constructors Champion in the podium tier with a man in this lobby, with Flo, and I wanted to join the commentary box because it's essentially, when I was younger, it was like a childhood dream of mine to be a commentator, and I've always found it fun to commentate over sports, especially motorsport, so it's always been like a big thing that I'd love to do. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to jump on and do it somewhat professionally. So yeah, it was really good fun.
Awesome stuff. So for those of you who don't know about qualifying night, I will give you a little brief intro into what it is and why we do it. So as I mentioned, we've already had one session. We've got another session here at 8 PM and a further session at 9 PM. So sign up commenced earlier in September, and we signed up 65 drivers we accepted. They'll all be participating tonight in qualifying night. They'll be split into the 3 lobbies. This is the 8 PM one, the second one tonight. As I mentioned, there's no advantage or disadvantage to what lobby you're in. It doesn't mean anything. It's the same rules. You can select any car you want, and what you need to do is you need to post your quickest lap time on the ultra soft tire. We then use these lap times throughout the three lobbies, put the drivers in a list, and amongst a few other variables, we basically compare and split them into the lobbies, the tiers for the season, which commences at the end of this month. So this qualifying night is basically determines the tiers, as we can already see a Haas spun out there. It determines the tiers for season 12, so it is important, and the whole idea of this qualifying night is to make the drivers feel the pressure, sweat a little bit. That's what F1 is all about. And Rex, you were sorry, not Rex, that's your PSN name. Alex, you were in the earlier session tonight, 7 PM. How nervous were you heading into it, and also did you feel the pressure?
I didn't this time. For me this year, I didn't feel any pressure going into it. I just wanted to have fun. It's qualifying night. I know that I'm not going to be able to mix it up with the top boys. But last season, the pressure was on, and I feel like that's how the first people coming into this, the new guys, they're going to feel that pressure because they've got something to prove. Those people here at F1 TS Hub, they know my pace. They know I'm not going to have to mix it up with the top guys, and I personally know that I'm not going to either. I know my own personal boundaries, whereas these new guys that are coming in, they don't know how their pace matches up to the other guys. So for me there was no pressure, but I feel for the new guys there's going to be a lot of pressure going on right now.
Yeah, so you'll see drivers obviously set times on the 2 slower compounds, the softs and the mediums. They're just banker laps, getting used to the circuit, getting used to the feel of the car. It doesn't mean anything. They must set their quickest lap time on the ultra soft tire. Of course, the track will be the quickest at the end of the session, so that's why you will see some drivers head out on the slower compounds just to get a feel of things. But as you mentioned, we've got a mixture of, in this particular lobby, some returning drivers and also some new drivers, so it's good to see how they stack up against each other. Perhaps we'll just run through some of the returning drivers now. So we got Dweller. He was in our pinnacle tier, our middle tier, that is, last season. Go Tony, he's raced with us as well. Previously, didn't race last season, but previously he has. Lawrence, he was from our middle tier last season. Reflo, he is our, as I mentioned, your ex-teammate last season. He won the Drivers and the Constructors Championships. So big welcome back to him. Jonas, he's raced with us for a couple seasons. You've got Jamie, who is on our management team, helps run the league. So he's participating. He did retire, but he's back for F1 2018. He likes the game that much. Bookster, who just jumps to the top. He is, of course, a race premium driver, and he is a returning driver. Who else we got that is returning? Ols, he is a returning driver. Sam as well. He's raced with us for a couple seasons, 3 seasons, I believe. Cloudy Balloons, he took the final win in the pinnacle tier, the middle tier that is, last time out in Season 11 on F1 2017. So can he carry that into this season? White Eagle, race premium driver, big welcome to him. And then, of course, you've got Ermi down the bottom. He hasn't raced with us, I believe, since F1 2014. He won 3 championships, Drivers' Championships and Constructors' Championships on the trot in Season 2, 3 and 4. So I raced a lot with him during my time racing in this league, F1 TS Hub. And yeah, he's an incredible talent. So he's not expecting too much on his return, not having played the game. He hasn't done a lot of practice. He only got it on Wednesday, but he wants to be back at F1 TS Hub. So we'll keep an eye on what he can do.
It's the place to be for league racing, honestly. But Nick, as we're here, there is one thing that I do not understand what's going on right now. There's a lot of drivers already on the ultra soft tyre, and for me, I don't understand that strategy. For me, what I would be doing right now is I would avoid the mediums. I go on the softs, do a couple runs on that, then go to the ultra softs, because those softs, they're good banker laps. And if you go straight to the ultra soft, that might not give confidence later on in the lap if you cannot improve. So I personally would go on the softs first, but there's a lot of drivers here going on the ultra softs straight away.
Yeah, it definitely isn't interesting because, as I mentioned, the track gets quicker as the session goes on. So, you would think these drivers would want to wait until right to the very end. Perhaps they're just going to set one now and then set another one right at the end. But yeah, this interesting tactic. We didn't really see that in the opening 7 p.m. session. It was a bit of a, I'd say under the 10-minute mark is when most drivers set their quickest lap times, not even towards the end. So, of course, you got to watch out for corner cutting here, extending track limits. It is on strict, and Budapest is a very technical circuit. So it's all about hooking up, getting a nice flow through that middle sector. It's where all the lap time is gained. Just one thing we noticed as well in the previous session, of course, ghosting's on. There's no collisions, there's no damage. So these drivers, they just need to focus on their braking zones, and they can drive through a car. I know it does put them off, but hopefully they're able to continue. 20 drivers in this session, of course, so completely maxed out for this one. We had 19 in the 7 p.m. one, so big welcome to all our new drivers joining the league. We hope you enjoy this qualifying night. We're looking forward to seeing where you end up come tier announcement next Friday. So that's one for the calendar. Hello to everyone watching again. Thank you for joining us. It's great to have you here. Great to be back live on F1 2018. And I'm looking forward to getting the season started too. So yeah, all in all, it's a good night so far. It'll be interesting to see what everyone is able to do when they finally put the pedal to the metal, to the max. And yeah, any thoughts on so far some of these times, Alex?
Yeah, as well as that, you said earlier that there's no damage on, but you still have to worry about the inside of your tyres. That's new for this game. You have to worry about the heat on the inside of your tyres. So if you mess up on one lap, you've really got to have a cooldown lap before you can go again, and that could mess some drivers up. That could ruin their flow. So they've got to be careful of that. So even though damage is off, there are still problems that you could come across. But some of the tyres right now, Hamilton on the top. By 0.6 of a second. I mean, what a good start for him. Brookstone second, and it kind of becomes a little bit more cramped as you've got the second, third, and fourth are within a tenth of each other. So it's quite interesting at this very second. But there were some drivers that have gone onto the medium tyres, one of them being Reflow. You've got CSS also on the medium tyres, and it's going to be interesting for me to see whether they go for a soft run now, or whether they wait and go for ultra softs, because right now I don't see the point of going for a soft run if they've already gone on the mediums.
Yeah, they would definitely feel an increased amount of grip, that's for sure. But yeah, we can see that, of course, where you finish in this session, it doesn't really mean anything in a sense, because you might not even see some of these drivers for the rest of the season. They could be in a different tier to you, but it's still interesting. You take confidence from wherever you finish in any session, in any league. So yeah, as we see, going wide is Dweller, so I wonder if that will invalidate his lap time at the moment. But all drivers except one to complete a lap time. Ermi, triple world champion, the most successful driver in F1 TS Hub history, is yet to complete a lap. But yeah, it's, we can see that CSS 2486 has done 4 laps on those mediums, so perhaps he's just really getting a feel for that car, getting a feel for the conditions, the braking zones. The 2 Toro Rossos are getting pretty tasty close on track. But yeah, it's interesting so far. Top 3 on the ultras already.
Yeah, this is Wade, just pumped in a 16.2, which puts him 5/10 above Hamilton. He's going to be feeling good about that. And obviously the times, as you said, where they finish in this session does not matter. However, I don't know about you, Nick, but if I was Wayne right now, I'd be feeling pretty good about that time.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, Wayne's new to the league, so you know when you come into any league and set a time like that, you're really sending a message to your rivals. You know, some drivers who could be in your tier when tier announcements are done next Friday, you could be sending a message to them. But no, it's definitely. He had trouble getting into the session at the start actually, but he was able to get in. His connection seems fine, and he's definitely got the speed. So yeah, well done to this is Wayne at the moment, sitting on the top 2 LMC drivers, of course. Next, then VSR Josh. He hasn't completed the time on the ultras though, so he's going to be one to watch for a big improvement. Go Tony up there as well. So I remember when he raced, he was in the bottom half of the grid, but at the moment sitting on an 18.0. I'd have to say these times they're not that different from the last session. In a sense, I'd say that the top 12, top 13, but of course you do have more track conditions to come into your favour as the rubber gets laid down, of course.
Being out there earlier, at this point happened times like 19.2 and 13th spot, which is the time that I believe I got. I could be wrong with that, but I got that at the end of the session on ultra softs. Scorpion's already there on soft tyres, so that maybe shows that this session's just a bit more faster. Being out there earlier, obviously, I no pressure was on me. I put in a decent lap, and that was what I came up with. But some of these guys were really pushing, so it's interesting to see, you know, if Scorpion could do that on the soft tyre, what can he pull out an amazing lap on the ultra soft tyre? Yeah,
one thing I want to ask you, obviously, turn 4, the inside curve and running wide. How much did you have to think about that when you were on your ultra soft laps? You know, because you don't want to invalidate and not get a lap time. Was that in your mind as you were on a hot lap?
All the time. Track limits is my worst enemy, especially on strict. So I was always thinking about it, and obviously, ultra tyres, it's a lot easier to go over the track limits, so you've really got to be thinking about that. But one thing you've got to do is also not let that just crowd your judgment, because if you're thinking about that too much, thinking about track limits, you might not get on the best line just to be safe. But I feel like if you want to get the tier, you want to get the correct tier that you want to be in, you've got to push. So for me, I think you've got to kind of go half and half, really thinking about track limits, but also don't let it crowd your judgment on what lines to use and all that.
Definitely, as you mentioned, this isn't the easiest track, and with so many drivers out there at the moment, they're really going to be fighting for room. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who's able to, really be happy with their laps come the end of the night. We're only seeing a couple drivers now on those mediums. The rest are all on the softs or the ultras. Of course, if you finish the session having completed your quickest lap on the softs, it won't count for anything. So you need to get out on those ultras and really use the extra grip and really use the extra confidence it gives you.
Being a podium tier driver last year, I obviously know some of the names in here, and some of the times they're pulling out. It's interesting because obviously you can be podium tier last year and then got even 2 tiers this year. So I'm definitely looking at those guys because those are names that I recognise, and I'm trying to think about how much better they are, and will I see those guys on track again? I know because the entire look of all tiers can be completely different from last season.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to see, whether people, improve and how much they improve and things like that. So yeah, it's really exciting. Obviously, new game, so it's not like season 13 will be on this game as well. So things don't often change that much, but on a new game, it can suit people differently than it suits others. So yeah, really exciting to see how not just the existing drivers, but as you mentioned, how the new drivers come and stack up against them.
Yeah, and an example is I know I was in the tier, but Reflow at the end of last season dominated every race. I believe he won 6, maybe 5 in a row. But if he cannot do that this year, he could be back down in podium. His times are looking good at the minute. I haven't really talked to him that much this year, so I don't know how he's feeling about this game. But you know, drivers that did really well last year on F1 2017 could do not as great this year. Obviously, with the ERS, and as I said, you know, the tyre temperature's changing, new circuits. Obviously, Hungary is an old circuit. But just thinking for later on in the season, they've got to be thinking about how do I, you know, get myself used to these new circuits like Paul Ricard and obviously the returning Hockenheim.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, it's a full race calendar this time in season 12. So looking forward to, you know, seeing all the ups and downs that these drivers are going to have throughout the years. Hello to everyone watching. And, of course, this is qualifying night for season 12. As Ermi runs wide at turn 4, that'll be invalidated, yeah. That's for sure.
As you were saying, Lawrence in the Haas as well, he span out. So I think he's going to go for another lap because he's on those ultra softs. He's drifting around the final corner. He's gonna box. Maybe he doesn't think that those ultras really have it in him anymore. But that's a shame for Lawrence. But he's put in a good lap so far, so maybe it's not too bad for the guy.
BSR Josh is on those ultra soft tyres now, so he's slower in sector 1, so perhaps he's completed his lap. Who else we got still? So Sam's on the soft tyres, his quickest time, so he's going to need to come out. Duella he's starting a lap. He's just finished 1. Go Tony's on an out lap. Okay, Rex, so 30 minutes left of the session. Still got a little while for these drivers to set their quickest time. Busy track, busy pit lane, busy everywhere when it's a full lobby. But you obviously won the Constructors' Championship in our podium tier last season, which is our bottom tier. You had something. You had a parcel arrive at your door. Talk us through when you received your trophy.
Well, it was really good timing because I was going through some bad stuff at the time. So I received it. I was actually coming in from college, and there was this parcel on the table, and it was a lovely parcel that came in, and it was really well wrapped, and it was really nicely done. I've got it on my bookshelf where I keep all my other things like that. It was such a good feeling, and obviously there will be a lot of people if they're returning from last year. Obviously Reflow did bring in a lot of the points, and I scored a 46 I think, but it was still an amazing feeling, and to have that friendship as well with Reflow that I gained, it was a really nice season for me.
Yeah, definitely. I said to you off air, didn't I, that, you know, that's one of the most important things at F1 TS Hub. You know, it's about, doesn't matter how quick you are, it's about your speed, it's about the, you know, it's about the community, not your speed. And it's great to hear, you know, that when obviously running the league, when I hear stuff like that, you know, that you've made a friend, it makes it all worth it, that's for sure. Just over 10 minutes left in the session. This is Wayne, post the quickest time, first man into the 15s.
Wayne, oh man, that's an astonishing lap. Did we get in the 15s in the earlier session? I wasn't really checking the top times.
I don't believe so, no. I think 16s were what we achieved in the earlier, so that's the quickest time so far tonight.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's really good for Wayne. He's a newcomer as well, isn't he? He's really pushing the boundaries. We didn't see that in the first lobby, unfortunately. All the new guys, they were kind of at the lower, which could be expected. Nerves are all over the place. But Wayne, that's clearly not affecting him, and good job. He's clearly dominating the pack at the minute.
Stevie G, he's another newcomer. He's on a hot lap at the moment. He's coming round the final couple of corners. Doesn't go into the pit, so he's going to finish this one. How quick can he go? He's currently on a 19.6, but he is now on the ultra soft tyre, so he's done a 18 flat. So a big improvement there, 1.6 seconds on the compound difference. So how much extra grip did you find when you switched over from the softs to the ultras?
It was kind of ridiculous how much it was. I improved by like 2.6 seconds, and then the first time I was on softs, I didn't even have that bad of a lap. So it was insane. The drivers will definitely notice it. But again, no, that does come with its own caution. Too much, the grip difference can also, you know, if you make a mistake on those tough tyres, they're blown. And if you're planning on using those ultra softs towards the end of the lap, that could, towards the end of the session, you might not have another chance to go back into pits to get a new one. So the grip was lovely, but you've also got to be very cautious on those ultra soft tyres.
Yeah, definitely. So we can see Reflow up there, your ex-teammate, currently in 8th position. He hasn't set a time on those Ultra Softs, so he's going to be one of those men to feel the difference. How many Ultra Softs did the game give you in this session? Was it 2 sets?
I think it was 2 sets. And let me give you a bit of insight here, because I know how the flow works. He's going to be waiting for the very last second, I believe, to go out on those Ultra Soft tyres. He always likes to evaluate before he does things. He's always a guy that loves to know everything before he tries to do his best. And that's a good strategy. You can see some people like this as Wayne didn't do that, but that worked out for Wayne. So yeah, it's a completely different beast. Also, as you say, ex-teammate. Obviously, with his time being so much better than mine, it's not looking like we're going to be teammates this year. That could change a lot of things, especially for me, because he was a big points person last year. But you know, and obviously new teammates, especially when you've got a really close teammate, that could really change the complexion of the season for anyone. So old teammates may get split up in these time trials.
As he was on a quick lap there, I believe he spun it in the last sector, so that ruined that one. The other Red Bull up in 2nd at the moment. He's gone out on the soft tyre, so perhaps he's just gone out for a lap on those, and he's saving his ultras right to the very end, as you mentioned. I think that's a sensible thing. You know, maybe sitting in the garage isn't the best thing.
He whacked against the wall. That's going to end his lap. Which is a shame. He's on ultra softs at the minute. He can't be making those mistakes. It could really shoot the wear on his tyres.
He did complete a lap on ultras, 19.3 at the moment. So obviously he'll have another set available to him when he comes in. But yeah, as you mentioned, the heat in the tyres. You know, the inside and the outside of the tyre. It's not just plain sailing this year, and it really brings another variable. Just going to ride on board with Reflo, the defending podium tier champion. Will he be in the podium tier? Will he be in the pinnacle? Will he be in the prestige? Who knows? All we know is that he is about to start a flying lap on the ultras.
You know, and I don't know about you, but seeing him from last year, he changed so much over last season. I think he could be in the prestige tier, but a question to you, Nick: do you think a driver like Reflo would want to be in the prestige tier? Do you think he preferred to go up 1 tier, have a really good season, score a lot of points, and next season go up to the prestige tier, or would you think he preferred to take that double jump?
I think a racer always needs to just drive as quick as he can. You know, it doesn't matter where you are. You know, a session like this, you just need to drive as quick as you can, and where you end up, you end up. You don't want to be in a tier where you're beating people just because you're there, because you didn't drive flat out on qualifying night or something like that. He's going to want to push you. You want to test yourself against the best. And as you mentioned, improvement. You know, in the podium tier last season, it was a 12 race season. We had 6 different winners from the first 6 races, and then he went on to win the remaining races and claim both championships. So he was actually signed as an esports driver over the summer. We have 3 esports drivers at F1 TS Hub, him being one of it. So, you know, we'd expect to, it's not mandatory for them to race in the top prestige tier, but we'd expect them to push on as much as they can, and he pumps it into 4th place, 16.5.
Yeah, he actually messaged me when he got the letter saying that he wanted to become an esports driver. At first I didn't actually know what it was. It was quite a funny story. He just messaged me this, and I thought he was joking to begin with, because normally he pranks you quite a bit. But I'm really happy for him. He obviously put a lot of effort in last year, and he deserves where he's going to be. And now he's 4th with a 16.5. I mean, that's a very, very good time, and I think it will stack up well against the rest. However, there are some people that I'm a bit worried about. Ermi, Ulzamit, sorry if I got that name completely wrong, back in the bottom. Jonas hasn't clamped out like that. Reflo lost the back end there, but I don't know if he saw the cooldown lap. He seems to go for a 2 on the trot. You know, there's a lot of guys on the ultra shots that are low down. Like, this is a worry for them. They've got to get out now to set high times.
Yeah, so we can see now the top 13 are all setting their times on the Ultra Soft. We've still got CSS on the softs, also Jonas and White Eagle, so we'd expect them to come out shortly. Just over 5 minutes left in the session. This is going to be when the track's at its grippiest, at its quickest. You know, the temperatures, if you get them up, where they should be operationally. You're really going to be able to push the car to the limit around this very technical track. As you mentioned, you know, it's not an easy track to drive. You really test drivers. There's not a lot of time like for instance a track like Bahrain, where you've got time to breathe and think on the long straights. So yeah, looking forward to seeing these drivers really push these cars, these F1 2018 cars, which look beautiful on this game, to the absolute maximum.
Yeah, Codemasters did a really good job this year. They always do a good job each year, I think. Obviously, there are some things that are missing from the games, but overall, they do make the overall presentation really nice, and that's something we have to thank them for. And they've done a really good job this year with helping us show the stints, the laps, and how that affects our stints, which is really good, because we didn't get the amount of laps that tyre was on last year. So seeing that on the HUD this year is really important, I feel, because it makes jobs for commentators like us a lot easier to say, especially, you know, obviously in races, to go, they're going to come in soon. So thank you, Codemasters, for doing that, and I think they've done a really good job with this year's game.
Yeah, visually the cars do look absolutely incredible, and you know, we have to say, you know, although there's been a few issues, you know, with multiplayer and things like that, as we're seeing a Ferrari going very wide, perhaps he was put off by that Red Bull. We have to say that the patches are coming thick and fast, more so than, you know, they were in last year's game. So yeah, keep them coming to fix any issues which are obviously made apparent to him. And we'll look forward to starting the first race, of course, on the 26th of October, round 1 in Australia. I can't wait to get there. Obviously, we've got tier announcements next week, next Friday, of course. F1 TS Hub solely races on a Friday at 7, 8 and 9 PM. If you're looking to sign up, we are full, but we do have a waiting list in operation. It's www.f1tshub.com, brand new website. So make sure you register to that, and then you'll be able to use the forum over there. Of course, you can also follow us on social media at F1 TS Hub on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Alex, what did you think of the new website when you first saw it?
The new website is awesome. I normally go on my phone quite a bit, and it's so phone friendly. It's awesome. The layout is obviously the original website was awesome, but this layout is just so much better. You get it presents better. It's easier to navigate. You guys, it's not very too difficult to find things around. And also, if you do struggle with signing up, the socials like Twitter, F1 TS Hub, I found in my first season when I was really struggling, they respond to you really quickly. So if you have any questions, don't feel afraid to ask, because they'll get to you. And I also, you know, there's a lot of interaction going on the socials. So especially after a race, if you're a viewer or you're a driver and you want to vote for driver of the day, go and do so. That happens, and there's tons of other stuff happens on the socials, updates and all that. So it's really lovely and interactive. I love all the social media parts of F1 TS Hub. It's really well done.
Thank you very much. We're on board with VSR Josh at the moment, one of our race premium drivers. Big thanks to him for doing that this year. Yellow flags in Sector 1. We do have the full rev glitch, which is slightly hurting on the ears. Dweller's retired from the session, so obviously we can't go and view that. I think that's the only thing about the spectator mode which I don't like from last year. Everything else seems a lot more improved. I want to be able to see, you know, those cars in the wall as something happens, but hopefully we won't get too many cars in the wall this season. As what's VSR Josh? He's coming into the pit, so that's his session done.
I think he'll be confident now. I feel a 16-0, a 16 flat, he's done the business. I think we obviously it depends on the time zone next session. I feel he'll be very confident that he's in the pinnacle tier.
Wayne's backed off as well. So we've got Bookster just starting a hot lap. So he's of course another race premium driver, been supporting us with some hard but good racing over the last couple seasons. So looking forward to having him back on track. Of course, now part of LMC, so best of luck to him in the rest of this lap. Let's see what he's going to do through Sector 1. We don't get a delta time, 27.3 at the moment. We'll ride on board with him throughout this lap, because he has put on some brilliant racing over the last couple of seasons, and we have a beautiful helicopter shot here, so it would be rude not to enjoy it.
Final 30 seconds of the session. What was on my thoughts on this whilst I was in this bit was just that you've done the best you can do. You can't beat yourself up, and these drivers, they've got one more chance to really go and attack the circuit So they need to go out and have fun. Really, that's the main point. Because when it comes down to crunch time, if you overthink it again, you could bottle it, and that could put you in another tier. So right now it's all about having fun, and I think these guys have put on a really good show for the fans. Go Tony retired as well.
He went quicker, did Bookster.
Oh! Reflo binned it on the final lap. That's him gone.
So it's his session over. Sam's on a quick lap. We've got, we did have all drivers out except 3. There were 3 drivers in the pit. 1's crossed, 2's crossed, 3's crossed the line now. The rest of the drivers are either on a quick lap or they're crawling back to the pit lane, or they don't have enough time to complete the session. We're on board with Sam. He's raced with us since season 8, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's season 8 he joined. Definitely season 9 though. And here we go as he comes towards the closing stages of this lap. Is he up? We haven't seen any delta times, so we'll ride on board as much as we can through this final corner. It looks pretty tidy, keeping it close to the apex, gets on the power, has a slight lift as he exits the corner. DRS is open. What's it going to be? He does improve only just 8 thousandths. So yeah, well done to him. Every driver on the ultras as well.
That's what I was about to say. A good thing to point out this session is every driver's on the ultras, which we didn't get last session. So that's good, especially for you. It means you don't have to look back at other times and that kind of thing. So it's a lot easier for people at F1TS Hub. It's good that people do really good laps on the ultras tyres. I have to say, Nick, these times very impressive.
Yeah, 15.9, quickest of the night so far, and he's got company VSR Josh just behind. Of course, you know, as we mentioned, this is qualifying night, so we just need these times from all 60 of our drivers who we've signed up for season 12, and then we can, you know, work out tier placements. But yeah, it's been a good session. You've got another one at 9 PM, some big names in that one, some champions. So looking forward to seeing how they get on as well. Beastas, of course, double world champion of our top tier F1TS Hub. He's won every season he's completed in. So looking forward to seeing what he can do on track too. But overall, a very good session, Alex. And when we get to the loading screen, I'll let you run through the order. Not that it, of course, means anything, but still, we'll run through the order. Ermi, tame comeback for him, but obviously he's going to be best.
Okay, so the finishing order was Wayne, VSR Josh, LCM Hamilton, Bookster, Reflow, Samster, CSS, Lawrence, White Fountain, Cloudy Balloons, Dweller, Go Tony, Scorpion, Oles, Stevie G, Jamie, Jonas, Ermi, White Eagle, and Ultimate finishing off the order.
Awesome stuff. So thank you very much to everyone for watching. Thank you very much for these 20 drivers for taking part in this 8 PM lobby. As I mentioned, 9 PM lobby coming very shortly live on this channel. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And of course, you can check out how to join at www.f1tshub.com. Alex, thank you for joining me in the commentary box. I'm sure you will feature again throughout the season, which we are very much looking forward to. Of course, you've already completed your qualifying night time as you are racing at F1TS Hub in season 12. So yeah, many thanks again. Final thoughts, Alex?
This session stepped it up, and I feel these guys should be very proud of themselves. There may be a few people. Ermi was quite low down the list, but I don't know whether that's because he hasn't been racing in a while. Maybe he's beating himself up. But overall, these drivers done a really good job, and this season could be the most exciting season of all. I'm really excited. Thank you for letting me do this, Nick. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you guys all very soon on track and in the commentary box.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Alex. We will leave it there, and we will see you guys for the 9 PM session later on tonight. Thank you all for watching. Thanks to drivers, and see you soon.